Mentally, do you think to continue on even after 2024?
Don, you're asking me this question. Oh my gosh, he's the president of the United States. You know, I can't even keep up with it. We just got back from New Mexico. We just got back from California. That is not a question that we should be even asking.
You said, Jackie, are you here? Where's Jackie? She must not be here.
No, I totally understand. I just explained she was on top of mind.
The book is suggesting the president tells aides he's tired.
But that's in the excerpt, right?
Yeah, and that's why there have been so few public events before 10 a.m.
I mean, that's a ridiculous assumption to make.
President Biden is the oldest president in U.S. history. Why does White House staff treat him like a baby?
No one treats the president of the United States, the commander-in-chief, like a baby.
So there's this book that says
that's ridiculous.
When staff
that's a ridiculous
back,
claim. I would put the president's stamina, president's wisdom, ability to get this done on behalf of the American people against anyone.
How is President Biden ever going to convince the 3/4 of voters who are worried about his physical and mental health that he is okay, even though in Las Vegas he told a story about recently talking to a French president who died in 1996?
I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole with you,
What?
sir. Comments were made in that report about that, obviously about his memory that we don't believe lives in reality. I think you all have called this the cheap fakes video, and that's exactly what they are. They are cheap fakes video. They are done in bad faith, and some of your news organization have been very clear, have stressed that these right.
Hey, thanks so much for joining me here at Courageous Media. Really appreciate everybody rolling up. So we are going to talk about Jean-Pierre, who, even after seeing Jake Tapper fail miserably, is trying to rerun the same playbook. She is trying to now grift off of, oh, the Democrats are so horrible. Oh, I knew everything all along. And she's coming out with a book. Despite all of the clips that you just saw, where she actively covered for the ailing, cognitively declining Joe Biden, where she actively covered for the Joe Biden who could not run the country, for the Joe Biden who should have clearly been 25th amendmented 5 years ago, before he ever ran. This is the Jean-Pierre, the worst press secretary in the history of press secretaries, who is now trying to convince, I don't know who, the American people, somebody that, oh, but she knew all along and she's now independent, that we need to be less partisan. This is just absolutely amazing. I mean, it's a complete grift. It's a complete reversal of 2 years of utter propaganda, lies, deception, disinformation, misinformation. Did I say lies? Should we mention lies again? Because that is what she is. She is 100% dishonest. She is even more dishonest than she is incompetent, which is really saying something, because she is a complete, as a press secretary, she was a complete and utter clown. But I want to get into this. So we're going to dive into this clip where she is talking about her upcoming book that she wants everybody to buy in October, which of course I will not be buying. But we want to get into that. And then to make your Wednesday, Scott Jennings is going to weigh in on his thoughts on Jean-Pierre. All right, let's dive into this clip of Jean-Pierre pitching her new book and saying that she has left the Democrat Party. She is now an independent. This is utterly ridiculous. All right, here we go.
Called Independent. It's coming out on October 21st, so please do grab it. And the reason I wrote this book, coming out of the White House, you know, serving as White House press secretary was an honor and a privilege. But since I have left, the people that come up to me, strangers that come up to me just across the country as I'm traveling, and sometimes right in my neighborhood, at a grocery store, supermarket, airport, my daughter's school, the number one question they ask me is, Corinne, how do we get out of this? How do we protect our democracy? How do we protect vulnerable communities among us? What do we do next? Because we don't have answers here. That's what they ask me. And this is my answer. And what I mean by that is, in an era of misinformation, disinformation, the regressiveness of social policy, what we're seeing currently right now, what I have decided to do, and I really have thought long and hard about this, is to follow my own compass. And that's what I've done. And that's what this book does. And here's the truth. And here's how I will lay it out to you. I think we need to stop thinking in boxes and think outside of our boxes and not be so partisan. and the way that I see moving forward in this space that we're in.
So the person who was so utterly partisan, such an utter leftist hack who lied to the American people day in, day out, over and over, clearly, everybody knew she was lying about the cheap fakes, the deep fakes, the Biden cognition, about everything that Biden said, that eventually when he was allowed to speak on his own, that the White House would immediately come in and basically walk back. And she was there lying about it, saying, pay no attention, nothing to see here. She is now saying, oh, we need to be less partisan. We need to not be in boxes. This is what happens when the presidency changes and the president can no longer be controlled by the deep establishment state, by the globalist cabal. Now she is running for cover and trying to remake, I don't know, some sort of career, save her credibility. I'm not exactly sure what, but she has so roasted her credibility over the last 2 years. There is no coming back from what she has done, regardless of this ridiculous book tour, which I'm telling you right now, this is my prediction. You can put a pin in this. This will bomb, fail, fall off a cliff, even worse than Jake Tapper's book. All right, here, let's keep going.
And right now is, if you are willing to stand side by side with me, regardless of your how you identify politically, and as long as you respect the community that I belong to and vulnerable communities that I respect, I will be there with you. I will move forward with you. And that is, I think, so important. So this book, Independent, it's about looking outside of boxes, not just always being in a partisan stance. And how do we move forward together in a compassionate way, in a way that really, truly cares about people?
It's all about moving forward. It's not necessarily about moving forward together with Marxist hacks, with lying, dishonest, egregious Marxist, anti-American hacks. So I am all for moving forward. I am for America first. I am for Make America Great Again. I am for moving forward at the speed of light, and frankly, leaving people like you behind. If you want to get on board, then change your actions, change your mind, and get on board. But as long as you are the anti-American, Marxist, LGBTQ hack that you have been for your whole career, we really don't want you on the train. The train is moving along without you. Thank you very much. So the Trump train is moving on with or without you, Karine Jean-Pierre. You can either change your mind and change your actions and get on board. Frankly, I think you need to be indicted. You clearly lied to the American people. Now, did you actually commit a crime? Was it under oath? Probably not. But Frank, you need to be utterly ostracized by American society for your willing role in covering up the greatest political scandal in America's history over the last 2 years. This is just absolutely nuts. So with that, what did our friend Scott Jennings have to say about all this? Because I'm sure
I have a different
he had something to say.
view. I'd like to congratulate Democrats for ridding yourselves of this untalented mediocrity. I mean, this is the most self-aggrandizing liar that has ever held this job. The White House press secretary is a sacred position, and she stood up there for years and lied through her teeth to the American people.
My friend,
and
she's not the first.
She is the literal worst White House press secretary in my lifetime. And what she did in the last year and a half of the Biden administration, cheap fakes, the entire cover-up around the president's mental faculties, she was in the center of it.
So you think she's doing this to launder herself?
So congratulations for getting rid of this, but Democrats deserve everything they're getting here for putting her in that job in the first place.
Congratulations for getting rid of half-baked mediocrity, the most self-aggrandizing loser to ever be White House press secretary. Leave it to Jennings to just absolutely nail it. All right, that's absolutely awesome.